What is going on, everybody? Hello, hello. Hello, hello. So this video is going to be a little bit different today. Let me see if I can... Oop, not the screenshot. There we go. As you can see, I've got all my connected textures in Optifine, and I put a shaders pack on just to try it out. As you can see by the blinding sun and the way it cascades off everything, the glowing lava and the nice smooth flowing water here. Here, this is better representation of the water textures. But yeah, we are here to do something a little bit different. This isn't my typical Skyblock Let's Play video. This one's actually going to be geared towards a review on the Skyblock here with OPBlocks and how they kind of handle it. I'll be scoring them out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 categories, and each category is 5 points each. At the end, I will tally them together and then divide by 5 for the final score of the server. Now, I want you to keep in mind that a score of 3 and above is super acceptable, super fine. A score of 2 is a server that has potential but definitely needs to be worked on, and a score of 1 is the type of server that I wouldn't even recommend. I would highly suggest they go back to the drawing board and fix things up in their own way and make a better kind of impression in the Skyblock kind of instance. And so, like I said, I'm just judging this one game mode, or reviewing it rather, versus the entire server. I would like to ideally have at least a week of playtime in each of the server modes that I go to review, and then from there I can give a accurate judgment of what I think. And so we are going to kind of judge this server so far from what I have seen out of the listed categories. So first off, the first category I have is the UI, so the user interface. So if we type /is, they've got a very nice and clean user interface, as well as having like actual buttons and images. That's really cool. A lot of the times I just see it pop up like this, and then there'll be a spawner, and when you hover over it, it says spawners, and you click on it and it shows you all the different types of spawners. But in this one, it kind of gives you a bigger kind of selection, and it also kind of fills it in with these really adorable buttons. So for instance, I've got all this, missions, whatnot, there's all types of stuff here. There are some that are still, I think, let me check actually. No, even shop, all of them. The whole user interface has been changed up to have this kind of layout, and I really appreciate the extra time that goes into making it like that. It looks really nice, and I think it's really appealing. I believe that this isn't a part of this staple of Skyblock that a lot of people are using or regurgitating, which isn't bad to say. It makes a very easy Skyblock kind of template that every server can pick up and use, which is really nice, especially if you have a favorite server you like to play on. But I think this is something that they have done individually to up their game, and they brought in this UI, which I really appreciate. So I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5 for the UI. Next is the longevity. So there are a plethora of things you can actually do on the server that leads you towards the end game, but at the end of all of it, what exactly is the goal? What is the purpose? What is the plan? What keeps you here and grinding and working towards something, right? So the big thing is, you can do IS top, I believe. Let me see here, IS top. And you can see who the top islands are, 100%. You could do IS or Bal top, I think it is, and you can see who has the most money, who has the most rank on their island. And I think that's really cool, and that's something that everyone tries to strive for in Skyblock, is to get on those lists, or as close to them as they can. Making money is the big kind of thing here, right? And becoming more efficient and doing stuff like that. But past that, what else is there? So they have dungeons. So if you do /D boss, that comes up with, I'm assuming that means dragon boss. But yeah, you got the dragon boss arena, you got fragment scrolls, and there is a extent of stuff to do after fighting bosses. You can go do PvP, but it's nothing more than normal, right? Like it's not more than what these templates already have. So I don't know if I can give it too high of a score because it's already there. Now, I haven't personally gotten to that point, so I feel a little unfair in judging it. However, if I had to give my best guess, I don't think they've added anything specifically special to the dungeon bosses, or the dragon bosses, and then maybe the dungeons, because I do think they have dungeons on here as well. Just because at the end of the day, I remember seeing this type of stuff on another server. I already saw the D-Boss and the boss and stuff like that on another server. So I know that this stuff is part of the template and it already exists. So in that regard, I'm going to have to give longevity a 2.5 out of 5. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing really more that's being added here. Nothing extra to keep you coming back other than the standard typical Skyblock stuff. Which, if you're looking for a normal Skyblock server where you just are by yourself, doing your own thing, surviving, it's totally cool. You can even find packs for that, or map packs that you can upload and use and do that way. However, I'm looking for servers that kind of go above and beyond in creating this very creative environment that keeps you captivated. So the next one we have on the list here is stuff to do. I might change how I name that or word that. But basically what it comes down to is, what avenues can I explore while I'm playing here? What is all the different directions I can take, right? Like, what do I do on this Skyblock island? And how many different ways can I go about achieving my goals? So in terms of that, you got a few actually. So the big three are your farming mobs, your regular farming, and then your mining. Those are the big three, right? And with that, those all each kind of branch off into their own little subset of, hey, this is what you got to do to unlock this stuff, this is what you got to do to get this, and then yada yada, right? So for instance, let's start with mobs, right? We want to take the mob route, and we want to be able to get to the highest amount possible, or get to the best mobs to grind, right? How do we do that? So if we click on, or do /spawners, we'll see that they've actually got a whole tier system here. And as you see, tier 7 spawners, it doesn't even unlock for another 2 days. And these are time locked, so that way the server doesn't get flooded with these other types of spawners right off the bat from people who just go ham on spawners. And it can destroy the economy and stuff like that. So I really do like the whole locked spawner look. But in order to get another tier, you have to have bought a certain amount of spawners from the previous tier and killed a certain amount of tier 2 mobs. So for me, you have tier 1 here, you got pig, sheep, chicken, and cow. But I'm currently on tier 2, which gives me rabbits, squids, slimes, and spiders. And so in order to get up to tier 3, which will get me, zombies and blaze and piglin spawners, I have to kill, an X amount of spiders or an X amount of slimes, whichever one I deem best for the time being. And then through that, you collect heads, which can create minions that can help on the mastery progress side of things if you're trying to get higher mastery for anything. So that's always cool as well. I really like that approach. I really think that it's more intuitive than just being able to buy whatever spawner you want and the mob drops sell for something different. And so everybody just immediately builds up a lot of cash to buy the highest tier spawner they absolutely can. So I do like the tier system. Defaultly, I think that is what comes with this whole template of Skyblock, but it's still really cool. So I'll give that some consideration there. Nextly, we have the farms, right? So with the farms, you can actually plant. Let's see here. Let's go to mastery so we can take a look. So with farms, you can actually plant all of them at any point. You don't need to wait or unlock any of them. However, in order to get certain things, like the triple sell price or the triple amount of sky coins you can get from that, I would say you definitely have to farm them quite a bit. As you see, I've got my cactus mastery up, I've got my sugarcane up, and stuff like that. But I am, it 50,000 farming. I have to farm 50,000 of these things to get my next tier on this. So it definitely takes some time, and it makes you put in some grind there on the farming side. And I do like that. I do appreciate that, it's not one set price. If I decide that I want to have a sugarcane farm, I can grind that out all the way up until it's tier 7 and then make a bunch of more extra cash than I would have normally just having it at tier 1 sell for $4 a piece or something. Now instead it's selling $12 a piece. And then at that point I can make my auto sugarcane farm and we're living easy peasy. Now, to get into the next part, mining. So this one's a little bit more. There's actually quite a bit more actually here. So if I do masteries and we go to mining masteries, so we've got quite a few here. As we level up our island and we level up our Skyblock cobblestone generator, we actually get more and more access to these higher tier ones, which start to allow us to unlock the tiers and get the minions. Now the minions are really good because if I get a bunch of minions, I can place them down and they will passively auto unlock these perks by generating these mastery points. And so you'll see that with the actual mining, it's super important because you actually unlock stuff other than just increasing the sell price on these blocks or getting extra, what is it? Actually, I don't even think you get extra sky coins from mining here. Yeah, I don't think it says you get extra sky coins for these. However, you do get other stuff like super minion boosters. You can unlock the ability to craft different hoppers. Let's see. Here, you can increase the rewards of daily missions. All types of stuff in here. So it's definitely worth getting these done because there might be something in here worth crafting. For me specifically, I'm going lapis and I want to get these XP farms because for every one I put down, I get 50 passive XP every minute. And so if I get 5 of those down, which I think is the max, I will get 250 XP every minute I'm even AFK here. And that's going to passively build to the point where I can buy mastery or I think they're legendary books or something like that. But the red textbooks, the highest tier I can get, and get some of the very good enchants that I want. I can also use it to sell on the marketplace. There's an XP shop that I can utilize. So it's really good if I go that route. And so in total, I think that there's quite a few avenues you can explore there. There's also a fishing thing at spawn that you can do with the trident. It's like a trident fishing, which is really fun, but I don't see that being any type of actual profit at this current juncture, just because even with a full inventory of fish, you don't get a whole lot of money, not nearly as much as you can get from doing one of these other core farming methods. So in terms of stuff to do, even though it's a server template and all of this stuff comes included every time you see a server that has the same kind of layout, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 because I'm very impressed with it and I really do like it. Now, the next point is going to be the one that hurts this server the most, and that is originality. How original is the server in terms of creating it themselves, adding on to a template, anything like that, Even if you do take a template like this, building upon it after all of the hard foundational work is done could be very beneficial because you can add more stuff to this world that gives people a better instance of, oh, well, I'm tired of being on my island. Let's go to their PvE area, which may have, leveled enemies the further out you go, or maybe respawning blocks. So like iron blocks that respawn if you go far enough out, stuff like that. And so if we go to /spawn, we're going to go to spawn just to kind of look at spawn because we'll take into account the spawn build and how spawn looks and whatnot. I believe they have, at one point they had a roller coaster that went all the way around the park. They have this whole circus type setup, which is really cool. I really do enjoy. and it kind of fits with the name of like their ranks that you can purchase. Like you have circus director, ringmaster, acrobat, juggler, magician, mime, stuff like that. And it's a very cool build. So this will give it a, I'd say, a solid point, more than it would normally get. However, the rest of the server, besides the UI change, has very little difference in how it normally does for all these other server templates. There's not much extra added on top. And that's fine. That's totally okay to do that. However, it doesn't score you many points in the originality category. So I'm going to have to give it a 2 in the originality. That being said, let's head back to our island. All right. So the next point that we are going to address is user friendliness, as in how easy is it to do things. Now, if you're not very proficient with how servers work, a lot of them use the slash commands, which is basically you hit the slash on your keyboard, it pops up there, and then you type in a command. So slash is and the island menu pops up, or slash is bank, you know, your bank menu pops up, stuff like that, or pv1 and your player vault opens up. And so I think that's a standard staple across most servers, if not all of them. There are a few that'll have like an NPC that you can click on and do stuff through that, and that's really cool because that actually works well with Bedrock players who are able to get onto the server. And speaking of, this server does support Bedrock players. I will have all that information down below in terms of what the IP and stuff for this would be. That being said, I think in terms of everything, they could have a little bit more of user friendliness, especially for the Bedrock players, because I've tried to play it on my Switch, and if I'm going to be 100% honest, putting in these commands on the Switch is such a pain. So having an NPC that you can click on and talk to is a big draw, and I definitely would suggest that for a lot of servers. Because even as a PC player, it's nice to be able to have items in my hotbar I can click on and they give me a menu, or I can have an NPC that's just across the way that I can run over and talk to, and it'll open up a menu instead of me having to remember all these slash commands, right? I think that having an NPC and a help book are two huge things that you just can't go without. Or even, I know in Hypixel they have a little nether star that's always on your hotbar that if you click on, it brings up your island menu, right? And so I think that is very beneficial and very nice to have, especially for Bedrock players, and even as a Java player, I really enjoy it. So in terms of user friendliness, we're going to give the server a 3 out of 5 just because it allows Bedrock players onto it, and I think that bumped it up by 1 point. However, like I said, it doesn't have any of the ready-made items like a NPC or an item that you can click on to bring up menus or help or anything like that, so it does lose points there. Alright, so I'm going to total this up real quick and come back to you with an overall score of the server. And this will be our first official score of a server. I really do enjoy the server for what it's worth, and I have fun on it. So I don't want this score to like dissuade you from ever playing it or giving it a try for yourself. This is just what my personal thoughts on the server are, and in terms of Skyblock servers in general. Because it is just the Skyblock portion of this server. It's not the server as a whole. Alright. I've returned with the final tally and the final score, and this server has scored out of 5 a 3.1. Now, like I said, that doesn't mean it's bad by any means. It's a very playable, very fun server. There is a little bit of lag every so often, I will mention that, but all things considered, it's not bad in the slightest. It uses the template, and I can't blame anybody for doing that. You know, if I started out a new server, it's probably what I would do too at first, until I was able to hire on somebody to make a very more intricate type of Skyblock. And so I think that all things considered, the UI change that they have when you go in, and you know how colorful and nice it looks, is a very big draw. They have you know, all the other stuff that the template has. However, I do think that because they relied heavily on the template, or maybe they just slapped the template in here, however it happened, it's not where it could be. There's definite potential here, and there's going to be potential with any server that uses this template to build upon that template and make something more and better, you know. So all things considered, it's a great server, it's fun, and would I suggest this server? Yeah, you know, I honestly probably would. Like, if other people were like, oh hey, what Skyblock server are you playing on, I wouldn't feel ashamed to be like, oh, I'm playing on OPBlocks. I think that the server's decent enough, but they definitely have some room to grow and improve. And so I hope that they do in any way they can. I know they have, I think they have resets every couple of months of the Skyblock realm, so that way it changes, and that way no one ever stays on top forever, and they can reset the economy and whatnot, which is totally cool, totally fine. You know, all this stuff is not permanent forever. However, I do think that there's more they can add outside of the template kind of placement. Now, I don't know if this is actually a template or not. I just know that I've seen this exact same setup on multiple other servers at this point. So I just kind of have the idea that this is either a template or they were all set up by the same person. Either way, there's got to be a little bit more originality to it. But anyway, thanks for stopping by, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope that this review was informative about the server. Of course, I will have the links for the server down below, including the Bedrock join link. If you did not know, you can set up your Switch or whatever device you have, whether it's a console like Xbox or PlayStation, and join Bedrock servers like this. I would suggest typing it into YouTube and looking up a tutorial video. There's people who will explain it much better than I can. Besides that, if you guys have any recommendations of any servers and server game modes I should check out or anything like that, please feel free to drop those below. If you don't agree with my review, please let me know as well, and I'd be happy to kind of talk it out a little bit and figure out and kind of delve into it. Are there any other points you guys would like to see graded in the future and whatnot? Anything I can kind of improve this whole review process with, I'd be more than happy to look at. But that is all from me. So as I said earlier, thanks for stopping by and saying hi, guys. It's been Casual Soul, and I'll see you guys later.